In Martin's thoughts, he acknowledged the man's exceptional nature, realizing he was no ordinary individual. Addressing the man, Martin confirmed that he had been trapped in the ice. The man, however, vehemently denied the notion, adamantly stating that no one could restrain him. Questioning the group, the man inquired if they were disciples of the Mount White sect. Martin proudly declared himself as the 38th leader of the sect. Surprised by Martin's status, the man expressed disbelief, pointing out that as a mid-level law of spirit energy alchemist, Martin did not match the expected seniority associated with leading such a prestigious sect. Martin inquired about the man's identity, prompting the man to reveal himself as Jerry. The sudden transformation of his appearance from old to young surprised the elders, leaving them in awe. Seth, noticing the resemblance of Jerry's face to the sect founder, urged him to cease and requested he put down the marble. Theo, observing the situation, questioned the plausibility of Jerry surviving thousands of years trapped in ice, considering his status as a vitality of yin and yang alchemist. Theo warned of the potential danger, hinting at the immense power Jerry possessed that could lead to catastrophic consequences for everyone present. Jerry, unfazed by the disbelief of others, expressed disdain for being awakened and threatened to crush them, referring to them as worthless insects. He demanded to know who provided the elixir of purity and covered his body, stating that he would show mercy to those individuals. Theo stepped forward, admitting to covering Jerry's body. Acknowledging Theo's act of kindness, Jerry decided to spare him, instructing him to step aside as a gesture of mercy before taking action. Martin assured Jerry that they had no harmful intentions and requested him to surrender the marble and apologize, offering to move past the discussion of murder. Ignoring the offer, Jerry threatened retaliation, indicating a readiness to engage in a confrontation. Defiantly, Jerry reached for his sword, signaling his resolve to proceed with the conflict as Martin's attempts to defuse the situation seemed to have failed. The tense encounter escalated as Jerry prepared himself for a potential confrontation. In Martin's thoughts, he realized the significance of Jerry possessing the vitality of yin and yang, observing the treasure emanating from within Jerry's body. Overwhelmed by the revelation, Martin confirmed Jerry's identity as the sect founder. Prostrating himself on the ground, Martin acknowledged his failure to recognize Jerry and the disrespectful behavior towards the esteemed sect founder. Experiencing deep remorse, Martin sought forgiveness for his grave error and pleaded for Jerry's mercy, expressing sincere regret for the disrespect shown towards a figure of such high regard. Jerry, wielding his sword, executed Martin with a swift beheading, chastising him for his grave sin and instructing him to find his final resting place. Expressing contempt for Martin's perceived incompetence, Jerry criticized the former sect leader's mid-level law of spirit energy status, deeming the others comparatively better. Witnessing the brutal scene, the remaining disciples bowed in deference. Seth revealed that he had provided the elixir of purity to Jerry. Acknowledging Seth's mercy, Jerry allowed him to step aside. Jerry then announced a grim ultimatum for the 4 remaining disciples. Only 2 would be spared, but they must fight amongst themselves. The decree was clear. The last 2 survivors would earn forgiveness, setting the stage for a deadly struggle among the disciples. Theo observed Jerry's unexpected calm demeanor despite his initial anger, contrasting it with the potential for immediate danger if he truly wielded the vitality of yin and yang. While Jerry exhibited signs of having trained for this skill, his true proficiency remained uncertain. Theo reflected on Martin's demise, likening it to Jerry's act of killing a defenseless individual, a deed even heavenly birth alchemists could perform. Noticing Jerry's strategic approach of stepping back and pitting others against each other, Theo recognized the sect founder's calculated tactics, emphasizing the manipulation and coercion at play in the unfolding situation. Jerry questioned the disciples' hesitation, reminding them of the mercy he had shown and warning them against delaying their actions. Theo expressed gratitude towards Jerry, acknowledging the perceived act of saving his life. However, Jerry quickly corrected Theo, highlighting that his mercy did not equate to sparing lives. He clarified that while he had promised mercy, survival was not guaranteed. The 2 survivors of the impending fight would have to face another round of combat against Theo and another disciple, setting a grim and uncertain fate for the participants. Theo keenly observed Jerry's current state, noting that Jerry was unable to perform his skills effectively due to his depleted spiritual energy. With his powers weakened, Jerry resorted to asserting dominance by compelling the disciples to battle each other to the death. In a moment of realization, Theo exclaimed, drawing the sect elders' attention to the impending fight. He questioned the elders on their thoughts about the situation, considering the directive for the survivors to face another round of combat against each other. Theo raised doubts about Jerry's intentions and whether he would truly spare their lives in the end. Jerry issued a threatening question, inquiring if Theo desired death. In response, Theo asserted his desire to survive, expressing concern that Jerry might resort to extreme measures to prevent information leakage. Brandishing his sword, Jerry declared that he would spare the life of anyone who eliminated the disrespectful and foolish disciple. Observing the situation, Theo speculated that Jerry might be conserving his weakened spiritual energy, questioning his motives for seeking assistance from others. Unfazed by Theo's remarks, Jerry warned of his willingness to personally eliminate Theo. Unconvinced of Jerry's capabilities, Theo challenged him, suggesting that if Jerry truly possessed ample spiritual energy as the sect founder, he should have the ability to defeat him in a single strike. Theo rallied the elders, urging them to join the battle if he survived Jerry's initial attack. Determined to persevere, Theo shielded himself with the light dragons, preparing to counter Jerry's assault. Despite the blinding light, Theo anticipated the attack, aiming for the neck, and successfully defended against 3 strikes with his shield. Confident in his defense, Theo proclaimed that Jerry's failed attempts to breach his guard revealed the sect founder's true nature. Dismissing Jerry's claim to be the legendary vitality of Yin and Yang alchemist, Theo emphasized the need to confront him immediately to stand a chance against their formidable opponent. Reflecting on the situation, Theo acknowledged that his success in blocking the attacks was due to his intense focus and the superior amulet and abominable stone he utilized for defense. Recognizing the necessity of these advanced tools, Theo realized that a standard talisman would not have sufficed against Jerry's formidable assaults. Seth, feeling regretful about consuming the elixir of purity, expressed frustration at the wasted resource, believing the situation would have been simpler without it. Encouraging the others, Seth proposed that they all use their elixirs of purity, emphasizing the need to stand against Jerry's attempted attack despite his claimed identity as the sect founder. In light of Jerry's hostile actions, Seth urged the group to unite and fight back against the threat they faced. The elders Nelson and Harold reflected on their knowledge of the sect founder, recalling him as a fair and just individual who valued life and justice. Inspired by this memory, they pledged their support for the cause. Sergio, emphasizing that the Mount White sect founder who abandoned the sect no longer existed, joined the resolve to fight against Jerry. Acknowledging Jerry's failure to overpower a law of spirit energy alchemist despite claiming to be a vitality of Yin and Yang alchemist, Edwin found hope in their fair chance against him. In response to their defiance, Jerry scoffed at their determination, mocking their decision to face their fate. With a grim resolve, Jerry declared his intent to carry out their wishes and end their lives as they desired. Seth remarked on Jerry's verbose nature, noting the challenge of facing the vitality of Yin and Yang alchemist. With a plan to enact the Quaternary Palace, Seth believed they could confront Jerry effectively. Jerry, amused by their proposal, questioned the purpose of using the Quaternary Palace against him, dismissing their efforts as comedic. Jerry revealed the origins of the Quaternary Palace, attributing its creation to his teachings, which focused on impactful skills like the White Thunder Shot. This technique aimed to maximize the impact of attacks. Frustrated by Jerry's arrogance, Seth curtly told him to be quiet. The elders enacted the Quaternary Palace, preparing for battle. Seth demanded the return of his elixir of purity, expressing his annoyance. In response, Jerry insulted the elders, initiating an attack while facing their fierce resistance. Despite his claims as a vitality of Yin and Yang alchemist, Jerry found himself being overpowered by the elders. Seth ridiculed Jerry's prowess, suggesting that one more White Thunder Shot could bring him down. Reluctant to attack a seemingly weakened opponent, Seth resolved to deliver another strike. Jerry seethed with anger towards Theo, blaming him for his current predicament. Frustrated by waking from a lengthy coma only to find his plans thwarted by a group of perceived lowlives, Jerry questioned if a higher power had deliberately sent Theo to impede his progress. Feeling cornered, Jerry resolved to take drastic action. Addressing the group, Jerry cryptically hinted at the significance of the marble in his possession, suggesting that even novice alchemists could attain the level of the vitality of Yin and Yang with its power. Despite the ominous warning, Jerry's intentions and the true extent of the marble's influence remained shrouded in mystery. Sergio reassured the group that they would eventually uncover the marble's capabilities without requiring an immediate explanation. Jerry, however, dismissed their efforts, claiming that the true purpose of the treasure would elude them, as it hailed from the High Ancient Era. The elders reacted with astonishment at the revelation of the marble's origin from a distant and ancient time, prompting curiosity and intrigue about the artifact's significance and potential powers from an era long past. Jerry elaborated on the significance of the High Ancient Era, describing it as an unfathomably ancient period with limited surviving records. Treasures unearthed from sites of this era were deemed exceptionally valuable, surpassing the worth and impact of contemporary treasures, making them highly sought after by many. Jerry explained that he stumbled upon information about a historical site, discovering it to be from the High Ancient Era. After enduring numerous challenges, he obtained the treasure, the Frost Flower, revealing the arduous journey and sacrifices made to secure such a prized artifact from a time long past. Jerry continued his explanation, berating the group for unknowingly blooming the Frost Flower. He described the unique trait of the Frost Flower, which absorbed frigidity, thriving in cold environments like a regular flower. Jerry recounted his extensive search across Daewon Nation for an unceasingly cold location, leading him to Empty White and the temple. To nurture the Frost Flower, a process requiring at least 10,000 years, Jerry had to secure the temple to prevent entry and disturbance. Through this endeavor, he founded the Empty White sect, establishing it as the most prominent sect in the Yang province, highlighting the lengths he went to in order to cultivate the rare and precious Frost Flower. Jerry expressed disappointment in the sect for failing to uphold the simple task of keeping the temple permanently sealed, a request he had specifically made. In response to Jerry's accusations, Seth called out Jerry's apparent tactic of stalling to recover his spiritual energy, which the group saw through. Determined to push Jerry to exert more energy, Seth emphasized the need to force Jerry into expending greater efforts through any means necessary. Jerry presented the Frost Pill, a potent essence of frigidity derived from the Frost Flower. Typically, a frost pill should have a white color resembling goat's milk, but due to the group's interference, it lacked its proper form. Seth expressed regret over this outcome and inquired about the frost pill's utility. Jerry scorned them for their ignorance, explaining that consuming the frost pill would immediately enhance their training. A correctly made frost pill could even elevate him to a position of great power. Beyond its training benefits, the frost pill was a remarkable treasure capable of improving skill mastery and agility, offering a multitude of advantages to those who used it. Edwin questioned Jerry about the effects of an incomplete, transparent frost pill, as he had described the benefits of a fully matured one. Jerry explained that while the imperfect frost pill was useless to him, it still held potential for their training. He clarified that it contained a concentrated form of smaller energy units, allowing Law of Spirit energy alchemists to consume it without strain. This, he claimed, would instantly elevate them to the breath of the sun level, surprising the elders with the prospect of such rapid advancement. Theo harbored doubts about Jerry's claims, questioning the veracity of the information Jerry had shared. Expressing skepticism, Theo highlighted the possibility of Jerry deceiving them with a blend of lies and partial truths. In response, Jerry left the decision to trust him in the hands of the group, implying that those with keen situational awareness would discern the validity of his statements. Jerry emphasized the significance of the treasure he had diligently safeguarded as a vitality of yin and yang alchemist. Despite not requiring it for himself, he decided to relinquish the coveted frost pill. With only one frost pill available, he posed the question of who would take possession of it. Seth, noting their understanding of the flower and pill, suggested dealing with Jerry now that they had uncovered the true nature of the treasure. Edwin contemplated the inevitable confrontation that would ensue among them for the frost pill, a treasure of immense value. Recognizing the high stakes and the lengths others would go to acquire such a prized possession, he strategized about the potential risks of leading an attack against Jerry, considering the depletion of his spiritual energy and vulnerability to subsequent assaults. Acknowledging Nelson as the strongest individual present, Edwin realized the need to conserve his energy to prepare for the imminent clash. Meanwhile, Seth intervened, urging the group to prioritize eliminating Jerry as their initial course of action, emphasizing the urgency of dealing with the looming threat posed by the sect founder. Jerry, frustrated with the situation, decided to give the frost pill to Seth, flicking the marble towards him. Edwin cautioned Seth to handle the frost pill carefully, urging him to place it down slowly. Seth, feeling pressured, expressed his reluctance to keep the pill for himself. Edwin warned Seth that any attempt to consume the frost pill would result in immediate retaliation. Seth defended his intentions, assuring Edwin that he wouldn't consume it without discussing it first. In a gesture of defiance, Seth swung the marble back to Edwin, conceding the frost pill to him. Edwin, taken aback by the turn of events, marveled at the sight of the frost pill in his possession, realizing the significance of this coveted treasure. Nelson called out to Edwin, who admitted his desire for the treasure. To divert attention away from his intentions, Edwin feigned surprise by shouting about Jerry's actions, creating a distraction. Upon realizing Edwin's attempt to escape with the treasure, the elders expressed frustration and called for him to halt. Edwin swiftly moved towards the exit, with the elders in pursuit. Meanwhile, Jerry observed the unfolding events with amusement, underestimating the alchemists as he chuckled to himself. Edwin realized the destabilizing effect of the frost flower's aura on his spirit power, causing concern about being quickly apprehended. In the midst of this realization, Seth, feeling provoked by the situation, attacked Edwin. As a result of the attack, Edwin fell to the ground, succumbing to the escalating tension and conflict among the group. Seth, picking up the pill, expressed frustration at the situation, realizing the necessity of collaborating to overcome their adversary. Amidst the chaos, an attack was aimed at Seth, but he managed to dodge it. The attack came from Harold, who warned Seth against touching the frost pill. However, Nelson intervened by attacking Harold, escalating the conflict. Sergio, joining the battle, launched an attack as well, acknowledging the dire turn of events. Meanwhile, Jerry observed the unfolding chaos with amusement, finding the escalating conflict exciting. The situation had spiraled into a chaotic battle among the group. Jerry questioned Theo's motives, asking why he was not participating in the conflict for the frost pill. He inquired if he was biding his time for the perfect opportunity to seize the treasure. Theo responded, explaining that he would be playing into Jerry's hands if he joined the ongoing battle. Unfazed by Theo's reluctance to engage, Jerry pressed further, questioning Theo on his course of action if one of the others managed to acquire the pill and escape. Theo pointed out the rarity and value of the frost pill, emphasizing that Jerry wouldn't easily relinquish such a priceless treasure. Jerry acknowledged Theo's observation, mentioning how alchemists often become obsessed with treasures, hinting at their potential to act irrationally in pursuit of such artifacts. In response, Theo brought up a sensitive topic, referencing the incident where Jerry was involved in the demise of the four brothers of Dongmoon, a matter documented in a senior elder's diaries. Jerry shifted blame onto Lewis, insinuating that Lewis had started to investigate his past actions, causing a rift between them. Theo defended Lewis, warning Jerry against speaking ill of the elder. He highlighted Lewis's role in discovering the cave and awakening Jerry from his slumber. Jerry, furious at Theo's revelation, accused him of disrupting his 10,000 years of key cultivation. He threatened Theo, questioning if he was inviting death with his actions. In response, Theo clarified that he was not seeking anything and expressed his desire to avoid any harm or demise. Three elders remained standing in the intense battle, with Seth left with only one arm. The elders reflected on how the situation had escalated to this point, feeling the urgency of obtaining the frost pill. Despite the desire for the treasure, they realized there was no turning back from the conflict. Jerry, observing the chaos unfold, expressed delight at the sight of the elders battling each other, goading them on to continue fighting. Seth confronted Jerry, reminding him that he claimed not to need the frost pill and advised him to leave if he wished to survive. Jerry, unfazed, taunted Seth about his single arm and inability to properly utilize the white thundershot technique. Seth, frustrated by the situation, blamed Edwin for not prioritizing dealing with Jerry earlier. Realizing the immediate threat Jerry posed, Seth decided that they should focus on Jerry first, even if it meant pointing their swords at each other. He declared his willingness to relinquish the frost pill, leaving the decision on its fate to the remaining three elders to settle among themselves. Sergio recognized that Theo was the only one with remaining strength and proposed having him lead an attack as their best chance at victory. Edwin pledged to support the plan if feasible. However, Theo, skeptical of their intentions, refused to endorse their reckless strategy, wary of their attempts to deplete his spirit energy. Theo anticipated that even after Jerry's defeat, the elders would continue fighting amongst themselves for the frost pill. Concerned about the deteriorating situation and the potential consequences of their actions, he feared the chaos that would ensue once their sanity had been compromised. Suddenly, a senior leader named Godfrey arrived on the scene, demanding an explanation for the chaos unfolding before him. He expressed disbelief at the sight of two elders lying lifeless on the ground and questioned the group about the events leading to this tragic outcome. Jerry interjected, attributing the deaths to the internal conflict among the elders vying for the treasure. Godfrey, unfamiliar with Jerry, questioned his presence and role in the unfolding events, doubting that the elders would turn against each other without external influence. Jerry proudly identified himself as the founder of the MT White sect, asserting his authority. Godfrey, unimpressed, labeled Jerry as crazy. Jerry, attempting to shift the blame, instructed Theo to clarify the situation to Godfrey. Theo explained that the elders had initially discovered the cave along with the frost pill, but discord had erupted among them. Sergio acknowledged Theo's explanation but hinted at additional undisclosed circumstances that contributed to the chaotic situation, complexities that couldn't be easily articulated. Sergio assured Godfrey that they would provide a comprehensive explanation once the current turmoil had subsided. However, Godfrey, disbelieving and incensed by the violence that had unfolded, dismissed the idea of further explanations. He pointed out the stark reality that the elders had engaged in infighting, resulting in the deaths of 2 of their own. Jerry, with a mocking laugh, highlighted the allure of the treasure that could elevate someone from a lowly level to the vitality of yin and yang, questioning whether under such circumstances, individuals could resist the temptation and maintain rationality amidst the conflict. Godfrey, angered by Jerry's provocation, demanded that he stop speaking. Jerry declared that only one person could claim the frost pill, emphasizing that to seize it, one must eliminate the competition. He justified this ruthless approach by condemning the others for their past actions, insinuating that their greed and past misdeeds made them deserving of death in his eyes. Godfrey, adamant about holding the group accountable for their sins, vowed that they would face consequences for their actions once the current turmoil subsided. Seeking redemption, he called upon the elders to join forces with him in putting an end to the chaos by eliminating the source of the conflict. In response, the elders pledged to follow Godfrey's lead, acknowledging his authority and the need to act decisively to stop the escalating violence. United in their resolve, they agreed to work together under Godfrey's command to confront and neutralize the threat posed by Jerry. Jerry, filled with disdain, criticized the elders for their perceived ignorance, believing they failed to realize that the frost pill would ultimately fall into the hands of the breath of the sun, expressing contempt for their apparent lack of insight. He threatened them, warning that those with feeble minds would be better off meeting their end in that moment. Godfrey, frustrated by the elders' inability to grasp the gravity of the situation, launched an attack that resulted in an explosion. Despite his efforts, the attack proved ineffective against Jerry. Godfrey voiced his disdain for a treasure that had caused the supposed leaders of the sect to turn against each other, denouncing its corrupting influence. To his surprise, the attack barely affected Jerry, who remained unscathed. Jerry taunted Godfrey, questioning if he truly believed that someone like him could destroy the treasure. He revealed an elixir, specifically a blood elixir. Godfrey, taken aback by the revelation, expressed surprise at the nature of the elixir. Acknowledging Godfrey's observational skills, Jerry implied that consuming the blood elixir held profound implications. Jerry consumed the blood elixir, a potent substance crafted by condensing small particles of spirit power into one. The creation of a blood elixir was a rare and intricate process known to only a select few, involving the extraction of spirit power from humans, a grim practice. In this case, the elixir was derived from criminals, requiring the sacrifice of hundreds of alchemists to produce a single pill. The pill created from criminals necessitated the sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of lives, resulting in a vile and impure final product infused with the spirit power of countless individuals. The severe side effects of consuming the pill meant that recovery could take years, making it a costly and risky contingency measure. Jerry, consumed by bloodlust, threatened to eliminate everyone present. Theo, sensing the intense aura of aggression, felt overwhelmed but resolved to assist in any way possible despite the daunting odds. Theo launched an attack on Jerry using his Dharma tools, but Jerry swiftly erected a barrier to defend against the assault. In a coordinated effort, the remaining elders joined forces to confront Jerry simultaneously. Unfazed by their combined attack, Jerry summoned the powerful Manchong sword. Following Jerry's sword attack that generated an explosion, some of the elders were defeated in the intense confrontation. Theo, reflecting on the impact of the attack, acknowledged that it was a significant blow and realized that taking a direct hit would have been devastating for him. Despite the losses, Sergio and Godfrey remained alive, standing resolute in the face of the formidable opponent. Theo marveled at Godfrey's resilience and skill, recognizing the senior elder's incredible abilities. While the elders, led by Godfrey, planned to challenge Jerry, They were keenly aware of his strength and the challenging battle that lay ahead. Godfrey took charge, urging the others to stand behind him as they prepared to end the conflict with a decisive strike. Sergio expressed agreement with Godfrey's plan, showing unity in their approach. Godfrey turned to Theo, questioning if he could break through Jerry's spirit barrier as he had done before. Theo affirmed his ability and determination to do so. Together, they launched an attack on Jerry, intent on overcoming his defenses. Jerry, responding with a barrier of his own, taunted the group, questioning their earlier confidence in the face of his resistance. In a series of intense battles, Sergio was defeated, followed by Godfrey launching an attack on Jerry. However, Jerry retaliated with his sword, causing an explosion that led to their defeat. Even Theo, lying wounded and defeated on the ground, succumbed to the overwhelming force of Jerry. With a sense of superiority and arrogance, Jerry gloated over their defeat, referring to them as insignificant insects in his eyes. As Jerry made a move to claim the frost pill, he lamented the need to wait another 10,000 years and prepare for the numb soul creation technique. Despite his injuries from the recent confrontation, Jerry expressed frustration at being harmed by what he considered insignificant adversaries. Determined to start anew, he contemplated the challenges ahead. Unexpectedly, Theo, weakened but still alive, invoked the destruction sword arts and unleashed a dark countercurrent. A sword emerged from the ground, striking Jerry and ultimately leading to his defeat.